Welcome to U.S. Immigration TV. This video is for traumatized green card holders who are now afraid to fly outside the U.S. out of fear of being stuck when they try to come in. Now, there have been several news reports and viral videos concerning lawful permanent residents, called LPRs or green card holders, having their green cards taken away or revoked, and then they're being put in deportation or removal proceedings, or they're being told to sign a form I-407 to give up their green cards. Now, this has caused a lot of anxiety and fear for many green card holders, and they are worried that Trump may come after them. In fact, from my perspective, my office was recently able to obtain a green card for a client after many years of her waiting. And when I was calling her to congratulate her, we were discussing about her finally being able to travel back to her home country. Her first question was, can I safely travel? In other words, she was now a new green card holder, afraid to travel on her green card, thinking she may not be able to return to the U.S. Now, how is it possible for the U.S. government to take away a person's green card? And what can a green card holder do to defend and protect themselves? Because if their green card is taken away, of course, they can be deported. So watch this video until the end for answers. Now, by law, it is definitely possible for green card holders to lose their green cards or have their status revoked for a number of different reasons. And these include abandonment. Now, this is where a green card holder might treat his or her green card as though it was a visitor visa, coming to the U.S., for perhaps a few weeks a year, but actually living abroad because of employment or family-related issues. Or they like their home country and prefer to live there most of the time. So staying outside the U.S. for over a year without a re-entry permit could be considered that the person has abandoned their green card, and they could be put in front of a judge in removal or deportation proceedings, where the judge will determine if they have abandoned their green card. Another way to lose a green card is signing a Form 407, also known as a record of abandonment of lawful permanent resident status. And it is usually to formally abandon your green card status. I know there were reports, viral videos on how a lawful permanent resident was returning from a trip abroad, and when they arrived at the U.S. airport, they signed a Form I-407, effectively resulting in them abandoning their green card. Now, there were a few details provided in that news story about the circumstances of that incident. But many green card holders were expressing fear about traveling outside the U.S. as they may be required or forced to sign a Form I-407 when they return. What may have happened in that situation, and this is only my guess or opinion, is that that particular green card holder may have been spending most of his or her time outside the U.S., or possibly had spent more than a year outside the U.S. on a single trip, which could have resulted in being considered to have abandoned their green card, and they face the possibility of being placed in removal or deportation proceedings. And so they agreed to abandon their lawful permanent resident status, be allowed to come into the U.S. on parole or on this particular trip, with the proviso that thereafter they should obtain a visitor visa. Again, the facts of that particular case were not clear, but still, in your situation, signing a Form I-407, regardless of the circumstances, is very serious. And I would strongly advise not to sign that form until you had the opportunity to speak with an attorney, even if you have to tell the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, that you'd rather see a judge and an attorney before signing that form. Because once you sign it, you're abandoning your green card. Another way a green card holder can have their status revoked or rescinded is if they have obtained lawful permanent resident status through fraud. Now, if a person was not eligible for a green card or they lied on their application, this of course could be grounds to have their green card revoked or having them being put in removal or deportation proceedings. For example, a person may have been petitioned as unmarried by their lawful permanent resident parent. So this, of course, requires that they remain single up until the time they receive their green card. Now, if they marry before getting a green card, the petition is void. However, if they continue to claim that they are single and they get the green card as single, it was obviously obtained through fraud, and it puts their green card at risk. Similarly, another type of example is a person obtains a green card through marriage, but maybe they did not terminate a previous marriage and failed to disclose that, or perhaps the marriage was fixed. And in that case, they obtained a marital green card through fraud. And of course, if that is ever discovered, their green card is at risk. And sometimes it is discovered when they go for naturalization, because when a person goes for citizenship, they investigate how you originally got your green card. Another way a person can lose their green card is by providing material support to terrorist organizations. Now, this particular ground is in the news today, where there's that Columbia graduate who obtained his green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen, but he has been detained, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio is revoking his green card. Now, the grounds for revoking his green card appear to be that he concealed or lied about his support of Hamas, which is a designated terrorist organization. So you know, when applying for a visitor visa or a student visa or even a green card, there are questions about whether a person has provided support for a terrorist organization. It is likely he responded no to those questions, of course, because if he answered yes, he would have never been issued the visa. So the U.S. believes that he did support Hamas, whether it was by handing out Hamas-produced flyers, encouraging and organizing takeovers or vandalizing of college buildings, etc. But still, what he was doing was considered supporting a terrorist organization. So according to Secretary Rubio, had this person truthfully disclosed this information, he would have never been issued a visa. Therefore, in his case, it would be a combination of supporting a terrorist organization and perhaps fraud in securing a visa. Another way a person puts their green card at risk is committing a deportable crime. Now, after a person obtains a green card, they could still be deported if they commit certain crimes, especially aggravated felonies and like that. They may go to jail, and after serving their sentence, they can be placed in removal proceedings. Sometimes they plead guilty, serve no jail time, but that guilty plea makes them deportable. I have seen many green card holders, even before Trump, were caught when they returned from a trip abroad or when they filed for citizenship. In fact, it was recently in the news. There was a story about a longtime green card holder being detained upon her return from the Philippines. But in the story about this particular incident, way down, it did reveal that long ago she was convicted of embezzlement, and apparently it did appear finally in the computers at U.S. Customs and Border Protection at the airport. So, you know, over the years, Homeland Security has been going through all the criminal courts and picking out all the convictions, and those are now in their computers. So if a green card holder or even a citizen arrives in the U.S., that information is available to them. Now, these are just some of the ways by which a green card holder could be at risk of being deported or having their green card revoked. If you are a green card holder and you believe your status is at risk, or you just want to file for citizenship but may have issues, even if you do not have issues, I would strongly suggest, to be safe, even if you're an innocent green card holder, file for citizenship just to be safe in the future. And I would highly recommend that you consult with an immigration attorney who can evaluate your situation and either resolve the problem or advise you on the best course of action. The point being is, yes, green card holders can lose their green card. It can be revoked, but sometimes there could be hope or pagasa depending on the circumstances. I hope you have found this video informative. And if so, I would appreciate if you, of course, like, share it with others, and most importantly, press that subscribe button so I know you appreciate these videos. I'm Michael Gurfinkel, and thank you for watching U.S. Immigration TV.